A king was in a very good mood today. He turned towards the young minister and asked with a smile, "What is your biggest wish in life?" The minister blushed and lowered his face. The king said, "Don't be afraid. Just tell me the biggest wish of your life." The minister bent on his knees and said, "Sir, you are the owner of the most beautiful kingdom of the world. Whenever I see the kingdom, this desire arises in my heart that if 1/10 of it was mine, I would be the luckiest person in the world." The king said, "What if I give you half of my kingdom?" The minister looked up in fear and said, "King is safe, how is this possible? How could I be so lucky?" The king immediately called the secretary and ordered him to write 2 orders. Through the first order, he issued an order to hand over half of his kingdom to the young minister. In the second order, the king ordered the beheading of the minister. The minister was very surprised at both the decisions. The king approved the order and looked into the eyes of the minister and said, "You have 30 days. You have to find answers to only 3 questions in these 30 days. If you succeed, my second order will be fulfilled and you will get half the kingdom. But if you fail, the first order will be considered rejected and your head will be removed as per the second order." The young minister's surprise turned into trouble. After this the king said, "Write down my 3 questions." Young minister started writing. The king said, "First question. What is the biggest truth of human life? Second question. What is the biggest deception in human life? Third question. What is the biggest weakness of human life?" After this, the king got the drum hit and raised his voice, "Your time begins now." The minister picked up both the permits and ran from the court. This evening he gathered intelligent and brilliant people from all over the country and put these questions before them. Intelligent and brilliant people from all over the country kept debating the whole night, but they could not give any answer to the first question. The minister increased the number of questions the next day, but the result was the same. He kept increasing the number of people in the coming days. But he could not get any satisfactory answer, so much so that he became disheartened and left the government. He roamed around the whole country raising questions, but could not get any answer from anywhere. He kept wandering around. He kept searching the ashes of city and village. The royal attire was torn. The turban became loose and hung around the neck. Shoes broke and feet got blisters. Even the last day of the bet came. He had to appear in the court the next day. Minister was sure that this was the last day of his life. Tomorrow its neck will be cut and the body will be hanged on the bridge of the city. In a state of despair, reached the slum area of the government. There was a monk's hut at the end of the settlement. He reached this hut while falling, where a monk was eating dry bread dipped in water. There was a cup of milk lying nearby and the monk's dog was drinking this milk. The monk saw the condition of the minister. He spoke and said, "Sir, you have reached the right place, I have answers to all your 3 questions." The minister looked at him with surprise and asked, "How did you guess who I am and what is my matter?" The monk placed the pieces of dry bread in the box, smiled, picked up his bed and said to the minister, "Look at this, you will understand the whole thing." The minister bent down and saw that the kingdom was lying wrong under the bed. This was the dress that the king used to graciously give to his close relative. The monk said, "Sir, I too used to be the minister of this kingdom. I too had made the mistake of placing a bet with a barbarian king like you. You can see the result yourself." After this, the monk picked up a piece of dry bread, dipped it in water again and started eating it. The minister asked with a sad heart, "Weren't you also able to find the answer?" The monk replied, "My case was very different from yours. I had found the answers and told them to the king. I had got half of the kingdom, but I tore the certificate of the kingdom, saluted the king and came and sat in this hut and today both I and my dog are living a happy life." Hearing this, the minister's surprise increased even more. Then the minister, posing as a complainant, asked the monk, "Can you tell me the answers to the questions?" Monk nodded and yes and replied that he would answer the first 2 questions for free. But for the third question you will have to pay the price. Minister had no option but to accept the condition. The monk said, "That is the answer to the first question. The biggest truth of the world is death. No matter who a person is or what he is, he cannot escape this truth. The answer to the second question is that life is the biggest fraud of human life. Every one of us gets deceived by considering life as precious." Both the answers of monk were unfortunate. The minister was very happy and asked the monk a condition for the third answer. The monk said and picked up the cup of milk in front of the dog, gave it in the hands of the minister and said that I will not give you the answer to the third question until you drink this milk. Sweat appeared on the minister's forehead and he placed the cup on the ground in disgust. He did not want to drink the dog's milk at any cost. The monk shrugged his shoulders and said, "Okay, you have only two options now. You refuse and the royal executioner will behead you tomorrow, or you drink the milk, your life will be saved and you will also become the owner of half the kingdom. However, it is up to you to decide." The minister got trapped in this, that on one side there was life and half the kingdom and on the other side there was dog's milk. He kept thinking, until his life and property were won and his honor and self were lost. The minister picked up the cup and drank the milk in one breath. The monk spoke and said, "My child, the biggest weakness of a human being is thunder. It is from here that the dog's teeth force her to drink even milk. And this is the truth that forced me to tear the kingdom's license and sit in this hut. I knew that the more I get deceived by life, the more I will forget the reality of death, and the more I forget death, I will sink into the swamp of thunder and I will have to drink the dirty milk of thunder every day to breathe in this swamp. Therefore, my advice is to know these three realities of life. You will have a good life." Embarrassed and feeling proud of his own progress, the minister left the monk's hut and headed towards the palace. He was getting closer to palace. Realizing this was increasing the embarrassment. The feeling of humiliation was increasing inside him. He had just reached the door of the palace with this feeling, when a terrible pain arose in his chest and he fell from the horse. He took a long hiccup and her soul passed away. The purpose of this video was to remind you of the important truths of life, which we have forgotten. Today, we are doing that work by forgetting the death in the slavery of ourself. We are in pursuit of earning wealth without caring about our honor and self. There is no doubt that wealth is the need of the hour, but one should be careful about the difference between legitimate and illegitimate amounts. Because when a person falls prey to the lust of wealth, he also drinks the false milk of a dog. If we adopt this truth of life, then I believe that we will have happy souls in both this world and the hereafter.